Phelan is teaching this one. So first we're going to talk. So we use Google Data Studio because we use all of Google's things.
They're pretty good integrations, and also the third-party community is actually quite vibrant. So there's lots of robust third-party tools. That's the first thing to keep in mind, is you're going to want to make sure that you can report on the things you're doing. So with Facebook ads, you're probably going to want to have some way that the client can quickly see between Google ads and Facebook ads, and Data Studio is a really good solution for that. So I'm going to share my screen to start going over things. We can all see this.
So are you going to let them make a copy right now?
It's already in the chat. It should be
So
there. You can view it. I will show you guys how to make a copy of it. And then from there, you guys, it's all sample data that you're going to start out with. That's from Google. So you don't have to worry about any of the existing stuff. You're just going to replace it with your own numbers. And so the first place to start, what are you doing? Okay. So when you first open up the report, if you go to the top right-hand corner, you can
three dots.
The three dots. That's next to edit. And then you can either refresh, so get the most up-to-date data, present, which is the new thing that they're doing with all of like Google Meet and all that stuff, but you can make a copy. So when you go to make a copy, you're probably going to need to create your own data sources. So this is taking that Google Analytics accounts and everything, and then making a connection between Data Studio and it. So at the very bottom of the list that opens up, you're going to click on Create Data Source. That's going to open up this big wide world of all these different options. Everything that's here above the fold is from Google itself.
Yeah.
And they're all their own inbuilt ones. And you can see that there's lots of different things you can connect. And they even have nice open ones like Google Sheets and BigQuery. So like just raw data that you might want to pull out, and then you can manipulate it inside of Data Studio. That's an option as well.
Yeah. So just go back for a second. And if you don't have a data source, don't worry. Oh, if you don't have a data source, don't worry, because you can keep the sample data in there. And you just copy where it says the data source, and you'll see this when we go do it again, but it'll say, if it says Google Analytics, just go get your Google Analytics account.
I just need to, the other thing to keep in mind that I forgot to cover, because this is the only way to get out of here. You need to also be very cautious about this face in the top right-hand corner. You want to make sure that you are signed into the correct person. Otherwise, you're going to wonder why. Oh, there's a whole bunch in the chat. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Let me repost that. Boom. Pip, you got to be watching the chat.
I am now.
So yeah, sorry about that. But the link's there now. Let me know if we're still having issues with the report. And so one thing to keep in mind is you will pull your hair out if you don't watch out who you are logged in as. And so in this case, I could tell that I am logged in as Phelan, and I need to be logged in as Pip. So I'm just going to switch the accounts.
Quick question. If I'm setting this up for the website project I'm on, do I want to be logged in as my client?
You're most likely, you're going to want to be logged in as your client, whoever has access to it, and then share it back to yourself.
Okay. Thank you.
You're also muted, Pip.
If you have Google Analytics admin access or Search Console access, like you're on the account, then you just sign in as yourself. And
hold on. The only reason why I'm saying that you should do it as the client, if you do have access, so just in case anything ever does happen in the future, they'll have the access to it, so that because they'll have the connections. If you do your connections and you get separated from the account, then the Data Studio will break.
Yeah. So if they delete you off the accounts.
Yeah.
So if you do sell this as a service, the reality is, especially if you use paid add-ons, you're going to have one account, and that account needs to have access to Google Analytics, Google Search Console. And when they do leave you, if they do delete you, then the report breaks.
Yeah. Yeah. and just for these free ones, I would go with the clients and then share your editing access with yourself afterwards.
Yeah.
That's just a simpler one that in case anything happens in the future, you can just
Walk away.
end the relationship and you don't have to worry about it. Their stuff's still going to work and you can walk away.
Yeah.
So
this
the link
time-
you guys put in chat, I have to ask
Yeah.
for access. Is that what, do you want us to ask for access, or did you want to share a link where we can
Yeah,
copy?
It's a post. So what I
So you got to open it up, I think, to anyone.
save.
Anyone can
Okay.
view. Yeah. There you go.
Yes. Anyone with this link should be
that
able
worked.
to view it. Okay.
And
Yeah.
then you can make a copy. You go to the three dots. So if you want to follow along and try this at the same time, click on the three dots, make a copy, and we're going to set up some access. So you'll see the first one says sample Google Ads. So put Google Ads just to see more maybe. Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can, which other, yeah, going to do Tim's just because he's
Yeah.
new.
Or
Yes. So that actually nicely leads in. The Google Analytics, this one does not distinguish between Universal Analytics and GA4. It will report on it all the same because they pretty much have a lot of the same metrics. So whichever one you connect, it'll work just fine. There might be a couple of extra metrics or dimensions that might show up. Okay.
the second one is Google Ads again, right?
Yeah. Sorry. It does not like waiting around with trying to create a copy of it. Actually, let's do college and massage. I'm just gonna. So one thing, after you've picked the Google Analytics or whatever your connection is, don't skip this one step because you'll pull your hair out later. In the top left-hand corner, you will notice this is editable and you want to name it properly. Otherwise, they're all going to say master view or Google Analytics, and you will not be able to tell which account it is. So in this case, and then I like to just say, so I like to do what the account is, and then also what type of connection this is. And then add to report. So now you can see that this is going to be converted into that. It's still not liking us, which is annoying. And Google Ads, we're going to do very.
What is that WMCCT? What does that even stand
Oh,
for?
that's just an account. So you would put the name of your business.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
which are, yeah, it's just the acronym that they have for it.
Oh,
This
okay,
is,
okay.
yeah, this is just Michelle's account because we have access, and I'm just going to create a report because I know I have access to all these things for her. But generally, you do it for the name of your own business, and theirs just happens to be have an acronym that's pretty quick for me to write.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
And you can search in the search bar, which at the top, which often makes things a lot easier.
And then we'll hit connect, top right-hand corner. Again, we're not going to forget to name this because it took us probably a good 6 months to figure out that you could do this. You do not make this obvious. And we're going to add that one. So you'll notice as well that there's two different search consoles. One is for how it engages with your site. And then one is, and we'll go and dive into this a little bit more once we see the report, but the other one dives into your URLs and how they show up on the web.
It says sample source data with the Google Ads still.
No, it just broke because we're not doing this quick enough for, it's a very finicky when you're making a copy and I'm doing the stop and start thing like I am. It's not a big fan of that. So this one was site search console and this college. So again, we're going to pick site. You don't actually have to pick one in here, so I'm not going to. So I just want the site impression table. And then from there, you just go over, click that, connect in the top right.
Name it.
And then make sure we name it. I like to label it with the site, WCCMT, pipe, search console site. I'll fix the last one in a second. Going to repeat the same process for the URL version. And and you see now there's a bunch of new options that just showed up that were not there actually last time we set this up, which is the Discover and the Google News, because that's different apparently from news in ways that they're not making very obvious. They're not very good at doing like press releases with this stuff as well, of like, hey, you can now connect this data. This is gonna like, here are the fields that fit into it.
See, all these things are things, the dimensions, like just don't pay attention to any of that right now. All you're paying attention to is making sure you're naming it and connecting it and adding it to the report.
Yeah, the only thing I just as a quick offhand, just as a reminder, a dimension is the thing that has a name attached to it. So it's different names of things, the different landing pages, and the metric is the number. So what is your impressions overall? So dimensions have names, metrics have numbers. That's the just
easiest way to remember it.
Yeah, I just find that's easy one to do. And
it connected, the other one didn't.
Yeah, which it does happen. It's a bit annoying.
So with this, you're basically just pulling in all reports into one place.
Yeah, you're pulling in all the data into one. Now, your job as the SEO or marketer is to actually go into Google Analytics and look in there, and to actually go into Google Search Console. So the reports are for your clients, and they're a way for you to report on the work you're doing.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So they're not doing Google ads, so nothing's being pulled in, but you can see at the bottom, they're doing SEO, and they've had 9,000 users in the last month. They spent average time of 1 minute and 32 seconds, which is really good. And it's up
for 9,000 people. That average is amazing. If you're
bounce,
thinking,
bounce
rate is, that's
good.
Yeah, I would not be.
Yeah. If you see 90s as a bounce rate, then you want to work on that. If 80s and below, depending on your industry, might be quite normal.
Yeah, basically, if you're on either side of the tail ends, if you're at like 10% or lower, or if you're at 90% or higher, that's when you should be concerned about your bounce rate.
Yeah, if it's at 10%, then there's something wrong.
Yes, then it's probably your analytics is firing too much, and that's usually
double tags.
Yeah, that's very common for that. That would be the issue. So there's one thing I would add on what Pip was saying about what this report does, which is definitely the Search Console keyword report. No,
so now this is out of the
Search Console. There we go. So this one is a really cool one that we've built that is really useful for you and your clients, because there is filtering that's going on here, much like how we talked about yesterday with the Google Sheets, and you want to filter stuff out. In this case, I want to see anytime that there is a query that contains massage college, and it should just instantly,
and it'll filter out everything.
And it'll show us. And then also all of these ones are also being controlled by this keyword. So this is showing that what is our overall site click-through rate for any keywords relating to massage college. And so you can see as well that Pip's added some conditional formatting so that if it's, 20 or lower?
Yeah, if it's on page 1 or 2, it'll turn green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that just is really good indication for keywords that you're going to do really well with. So this is a little bit better than just going into Search Console, because you can get quick visualizations. You can quickly filter out lots of words. So this is one area where the data visualization gets infinitely better with Data Studio compared to the platform, because you can manipulate the data in different ways.
Yeah. And honestly, they're fun, because you can play around, because it's a drag and drop. So for instance, Phelan, will you let's go to page 2. Let's just go through the report.
Okay.
So once you add all your connectors, which is probably the hard part, then you can start playing around and break things. Okay. So we're going to leave the Google ads. Now say my client, I'm copying this report, and I the client's not doing Google Ads. What do I want to do? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on pages at the top, see where it says 1 to 12 under the main menu. Yeah, and then all the pages show up in the right-hand side. And you can see that there are some with a little eyeball that's crossed out, which means I'm not showing that. So I'll see it when I'm working on it, but the client won't when they're viewing it. So Phelan, let's go up to the third page, the Google Ads overview page search. Click on those 3 dots and then go to hide. Now you can also see, you can select an icon. So I usually do different icons for SEO and different ones for, so I do the search magnifying glass for SEO, and I do the trending up one for Google Ads, right? I know it's geeky and maybe too much. We no longer put our clients' logos on them because there's a high chance to screw it up. The other thing you can do is put a link in the bottom of this to your page. So if we look at, this acquisition page, let's make some changes. So I'm already in edit because I can see, because it's giving me the view at the top. And when I'm in edit, let's add a chart. So Phelan, can you go over to the horizontal menu under the main? Yeah. And can you add a scorecard?
Pip, just 2 seconds. So this is customer facing. This is what we would be showing the customers. I missed the first 5 minutes of, okay.
Yeah. So this is, although we spend our time in Google Analytics, we do send our clients a report monthly so that they can start to feel confident about what we're doing. There's problems with reports, which are the language that's being used and pulled in is very hard for the client to understand. So there's a huge education process here. And you can either sit with your client. We've done video reports that clients don't watch. We now add at the bottom of our reports link to terminology pages that link to our website. But literally it's a drag and drop reporting system. So as you can see, Phelan's just changing things. So it looks like he's got site. So it's Search Console. Why don't you pull in query?
Hold on, let's do a little bit more explaining on what's going on here on this right-hand panel, because once you've selected any chart here, everything related to the chart, including what data it pulls in and how the time range that it's pulling in, are all controlled here on the right-hand side. There's also the styling. So you notice how this one has like the blue background. That's where you would change the background colors here. The other thing is that you can look at different parameters that you can pull in to this as well. So if there's something very specific that you want, which sometimes there are, you can pull those in. But the first thing that you'll notice here is the data source. And so we have, as we know, we've connected already to this account. We've got 4 that we've connected to Google Ads, Google Analytics, and then both of the search consoles. In this case, I was on the search console. I'm actually going to switch over to the analytics. Yes. And so from there, I'm now going to have a metric because it's a scorecard, right? It's a number. So in this case,
you can search. So your job is going to be to play, because you're going to put in things that aren't going to work. But the more you play, the more you get used to it. And right out of the box, you got lots of different things you can play with and adjust and change colors and try to learn something about the client.
How do you know if you break it? Do you get an error message, or does the number just not show up? Or
oh yeah, it says broken.
They'll
cool.
Yeah, they're actually really good with error messages with Data Studio. If you do get an error message, usually it has a little thing that says learn more, and it will spit out a little bit of text on what this particular issue is. They're usually really good if you have broken something on what it is that you need to do to fix it. One other thing, when you're searching, one thing that will trip you up when you're doing this is when you want to do conversions, I think it comes out as still goal completions. So say you want to know the total number of goal completions, you need to, it's not conversions, it's still going to be goal completions. You might need to play around with it. You can also pull in individual goals, but they're going to be named, and it's a little bit hard to find exactly. I generally go with totals, because you're going to have an easier time with this. And then if you want to get individual goals, I would do that in a table. that's going to be a lot easier for you to visualize and see what's
Yeah.
going on.
So Phelan, why don't you change one of the tables instead of a donut? Why don't you try to make it a bar graph or a line graph?
Sure. And the other thing is, if you want to change the style, like Pip just mentioned, at the very top, you will see there is the style of the chart that's already existing, and it's already selected which one it is. So you also have a huge variety of different visualizations that you can have. So for example, I'm going to, just for argument's sake, because we don't really have one on this, is a table. This one is, it's a bar chart. We've got obviously more donuts, a pie chart. And so this one is going to be more of a table that's going to have your rows, and the rows are going to be the dimensions. Remember, dimensions have names. Those names will have numbers associated with them. So the source and medium will determine how many sessions did you get out of that. So in this case, I want to do source.
We'll be playing with this lots. So the only expectation is that you make a copy of this, you try it yourself, and you come back with questions and we work through it together. You're not alone, I promise.
Yeah, and these are wildly moving living documents. That's one thing to really keep in mind, is that we are changing ours not fairly frequently. What was that?
That's red.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's just wondering if there's an axe murder that you're letting by.
No. Mr. Puppy.
Yes. And so the other cool one as well, you can also add a chart here. So if you wanted to get a little bit closer look at what these all look like, you can see them all here. There is also, just next to it is this little weird one. There's also third-party visualizations. So different companies have built their own, like a gauge, even though that's made by Google, so it's weird. But anyway, but you can go and explore these ones as well, and they have all kinds of different charts that different companies have made as well.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there any security risk with these since they're created by other companies?
That's a good question. Who knows?
That is a very good question. Okay, I can't say that there is no security risk because they're technically getting access to it. Fortunately, when you do have these like third-party tools, usually the person who opens up the API connection has security features built in. They're not going to let just anyone build one and put it here. Generally, they do go through a little bit of a security check.
I haven't had any issues, but we don't necessarily use many. I think I've used the gauge because it was cool. One of the coolest things about these reports is that if you search on Google, Data Studio templates, free, you can find also, honestly, we've been using this since beta. It was in beta, and we have so many different reports we played. Phelan, if you can go to the icon over on the right-hand side, the charty thing, the blue thing, sorry, left-hand side. My right, your left, you know what I mean. The right beside local SEO. Up, up, over, yeah. So this will take you back to all your reports. And if you look here, there's a template gallery, and Google gives you some templates out of the box.
You can also set up your own templates as well, which we haven't really got to, but they also have these ones that give you an idea on things you can pull in. They have also this one that's set up for e-commerce using Google Analytics as the tracker. So if you do have a fully connected e-commerce site, so Kaya, you can pull in this one as well.
Go up to the category. So, because I don't see the YouTube, there's like lots.
The YouTube one is down. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there.
And so you can do your YouTube channel. You can pull in information that way. So we got Search Console, the 360s. Don't worry about anything. If you see the word 360 attached to anything with Google, don't worry about it. That's their enterprise one where you have to pay for the privilege of, and it's about $100,000 a month, I think is the base.
So we don't use it.
It's just not a system that there actually isn't very much difference. It's really shocking. But the other thing to keep in mind, you also have an Explorer tab, so you can create a little sandbox that's just going to be like, I want to play around and just absolutely do stuff that you figure is going to be just a throwaway. This Explorer section is definitely the one to do it with. And you would can create the Explorer. So in the top left-hand corner here, you're going to see the plus icon with create, and then you could add data sources, you could add reports, you can explore as well. Karen had a question in the chat, which is, do you have to pay for the third-party tools? Most likely, a majority of them are paid. There are free ones. There's one for Google My Business called Jepto. It's for the free, it's okay.
Okay, if you have one data, like if you're attached to one Google business profile account, then it's easy. But if you are attached to multiple,
there's no way to filter it out. They just say, okay, we're going to pull in everyone's stuff. And then you have to like do a bunch of fancy filtering, and it's annoying, but it's also free. So
well, and you can also pull in the, like we saw that you can pull in Google Sheets. So I'm actually going to try that probably later today, because I manually track some keywords for our clients, and I would really like it just in the report if I could, but I want to see month over month what's going on. So the great thing is, so the clients can visit this anytime. It is a living report. If we go back to the report, Phelan, do you actually just want to open one of our reports? I just opened Stream. I was looking Stream. So if I give this to the client, you can see I am doing year over year analysis, but the client can come into this at any time, and they can go to the dates and they can switch it, and they can look at last month, last year, last quarter, and it pulls in all the information right away. And as you go through the report, you can change things. If you'll notice in different pages of the report, there's different options you can add, or let's go to a different page. Phelan, let's go to Google Analytics, keywords. Google Analytics is always good. So as you can see, and if you all want any extra report or to look through our reports, you're more than welcome.
To answer your question, Karen, we've assembled the one that we have in the chat. If you missed it, I'll repost the link, but the one that we had in the chat has been cobbled together from a variety of other people's templates. And we use a tool called Supermetrics, which is like the #1 data pipeline system for Google.
It does cost about 1,800 American a year. So it is our most expensive software that we choose to use, because sending your clients a report is a huge part of being a marketing agency, or being someone that is a resource for your client that can report on the information and start to teach them. So your job is to become a teacher in all of this in a really kind, nice way, even with other developers and marketers, and just be like, oh, because if we can help the clients do really cool things, ooh, you can pull in Stripe. Ooh, this is
you can pull in Stripe. They actually have built their own Shopify one. So Supermetrics.
So this is not free. This Data Studio is not free.
No, Data Studio is free.
Okay.
Data Studio has some free connections because it's from Google.
Yes.
The free connections are going to be like Google Analytics, Google Search
These ones
Console.
up here.
Yeah.
But if you want to go deeper and say you want to report on Facebook metrics, or then you would choose to use paid. You get more if you pay. Yeah.
But you could basically just do Facebook separately. Let's just say if you didn't want to pay. Someone like myself as a marketing manager who would take on clients, I don't expect, like, I'm not going to be selling crazy services like an agency would, like you guys.
Yes.
So for the most part, on a general term, Data Studio should be able to cover your basics.
Yeah, which is what you want. And it's covering the basics. So you got out of the box, you would have YouTube, Google, Google Ads, Google Analytics, Google Search Console, right out of the box. YouTube.
If you're in the States, looking at you, Emma, tables, you can do reporting on stuff with tables, which is like an Airtable equivalent.
So underneath that, it says partner connectors. So all of those partner connectors are paid.
Yeah.
Got
They
it.
can be. There are a couple that I found, like the Jebto one, this one right here, that is
Great.
but it's very limited. So just bear that in mind, that they do just to get your feet wet. It's definitely a really good one to get started with.
Got it.
Oh,
Yeah,
great
there's
question,
definitely-
Kaya.
Uh,
It's the, do you need a Gmail account to create a Data Studio account?
yes, you're absolutely nail on the head. It's because that's how they're doing the security for all the connections, is that you have logged in as X person. And so because of that, you go and verify with all the other accounts. And so they're just using that person. Oh, one other thing to keep in mind. I don't know how to show
Yes,
this.
Kaya, the assuming if the account you log in with and make the connection, you need to have access to, that's why you need admin access. This is the only, and your client can take you off admin access after, and you'll still have the connection. They can put you as editor or whatever.
Do I need admin or ownership?
You need, okay, so Google Business Profile, they would call it an owner.
Okay.
And Google Analytics, they would call it admin. Tag manager, the permission is what, Phelan?
Admin.
Oh, no, it's, is it admin? Google.
Tag manager, it's admin. I'm 100% confident.
I'll make a list. Thank you.
Yeah.
So all the, the other great, really fun thing with all of this is, so with Google Ads, your client will get an email. You'll get an email. With Google Analytics, you won't. You'll get nothing. You just have to go look. Google Business Profile, you have to click a link to accept in email. So it's
they're all different. It's very annoying that they're like that they don't make it consistent, that whether you have to affirmatively accept it or whether you're just passively given access, they don't make it any of that very clear.
It looks like Google Docs, right? So they're trying to integrate this with Google Docs, and so that your reports actually end up in your, like how you do slides. They'll just end up in your files in your Google Drive.
And one other thing that, speaking of, because Pip just touched on it, is that you can send this to your clients as a PDF email. And so the way to do that is, no, the PDF one.
Yeah, but it links, it also, there's a link.
Oh, yeah, there's a link to the live out document.
Yeah.
But it does a little snapshot of whatever the date range that you put in. So how you get to that is you go to this down arrow, and you can even embed this too, which is cool. So it creates a little iframe, and so you could put it on a website. I haven't really found a good use case for that, but it's cool all the same. Anyway,
I've tried it. Yes.
So in this case, I had trouble making.
So in this case, your client does not need a Gmail. So if you're adding the client to the report, you might need a Gmail. If you're sending the monthly report, you do not need a Gmail. Yes.
Yeah.
But this is just the fun little idiosyncrasies of it, where you're just going to play around. You can actually customize your subject and the dates. So we send it the first of the month at 8 a.m. And we try to get people to look at the report before it goes to the client to see if anything's broken. Some clients look at it, some clients do not.
Yes. And so you can change any of these. You could have it on the first Friday, or the first of each month is on the first day.
Yeah.
And so they'll get the snapshot. Karen had trouble making a copy of this earlier, but we have the link. Can we go back later and copy? Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know, these are, it's so Phelan, will you go to Google Analytics page? So page 3. Let's see, page 3. So right now, okay, one of the important things about reports is what is too much information?
This is too little. More.
This might be good, but bad. So I have goal completions and unique events. So I'm going to need to possibly explain that to clients. What's the difference between a page view and a session? Does the client need to know this? Now I gave you a Google Doc with all the questions to ask when you onboard a client. That there's questions in there that will allow you to figure out what the client is going to base if you're being successful for them. So you want to look out for that question and make sure you're trying to answer that whenever you're in the report. So I can tell you right now, if I was going to edit this report, I would take out probably page views and sessions, and I'd just have, so I just have
new users.
I keep new users to show them that, hey, maybe we want to work on, there's a 10 user difference per month. So a small percentage is coming back every month. So maybe we want to try to grow that. Maybe we want to try to get users to come back. Bounce rate, I would keep. Time on page, I would keep. And you'll see the other two tables below, like the average time on page and goals. One of them does the page titles and the other one does the URL. That's more for me. So I might get rid of that. Sometimes Data Studio also acts funny because it is live. So this does take a lot of power. What is it? I would refresh it.
Yeah, so I'm also sharing my screen. So Chrome is like screaming out a little bit, and that's just the nature of this. Is a pretty heavy on your system to run.
Phelan, will you highlight all these scorecards for me on this page?
Oh, and to do that, you just hold Shift and click on each one, and then you'll just have them as a group.
Now you can see, so you got setup and style, right? So setup, can you do previous year? Okay. And then apply. And then can you go to style for me, please? Beside setup?
Yeah.
I don't like the blinking. Oh, what did you do? You broke
yeah,
it. It's broken. Oh no.
Yeah, it's
the flat. So sometimes things happen, and when things don't work or it takes too long to do something in here, walk away quickly. Okay, so Phelan, can you make everything centered to the middle? And can you, do that first. So now we're centering all the information in the middle of the scorecards. And can you see where it says hide data label? See how that's clicked off? Can you click it on? Up.
hide data labels.
See, hide. Sorry, I can't. Yeah, the comparison label. So unclick that. And now you have all this, right? Now you can see it year over year, but now it's like really like messy.
Illegible.
And so now can you go also scroll all the way down in the style and click on the add a border shadow. So you can actually change these to be in the color of your clients. But now, oh, you took it off.
What? Oh, I added it.
You took off the comparison for year over year.
So we could read it.
Yeah, and then can you put it back for a sec? Lovely. Yeah, so.
Okay, I think we got to stop with doing this. Like it's.
Look, there you go.
My computer's not happy.
I understand. And now get rid of a couple of them and make them big enough so that you can actually read the no data from previous year or whatever. So get rid of page views and sessions. And then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's okay, error. And then you can just make them bigger. It's literally a drag and drop scenario or a drag and play with. And then
where are you pulling all this data on this screen? You're pulling it from the data on the right hand side, like
the data source.
Okay.
So at the start of this one, we connected the data sources, and so what it's doing is it's just reaching out to them and it's saying, okay, tell me about the bounce rate in this time period, and then it pulls that in.
I left a comment in the chat. What if somebody wants to see a comparison, like from this year to last year, obviously if they've had that data?
Yeah, so that's what we were just doing. If you look in the setup over on the right hand side, you'll see where it says.
I'm gonna have to get out of edit view here. This is the best place to find that type of information is up here at the date range that is controlling it. And then what you can do, you can have all these different options. So you can see this quarter to date versus last quarter, this year, and then it'll compare to last year. So there's
it'll compare to last year. So you can do the comparison can be previous year or previous period.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Period being
Yeah.
last month.
or whatever the period is that you selected. So if you select this quarter to date, it's going to do whatever the last quarter
Previous
to
quarter
this
to
date
date.
would have been. And
Yeah.
so it just takes whatever this one was in the previous period, and it just does that. So
Got it,
we
got it.
generally set it up as previous period, because then you can do these cool comparisons and manipulations of the data that way.
So has everybody made a copy of the report?
No,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
yet.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, click.
I like to watch before I do things, because
Yeah, yeah,
otherwise
okay.
my brain will not function.
Well,
That-
yeah.
that's
We just want to
totally
make
fair.
sure you have a copy of the report before you go today.
Please, can you put a link in the chat? I didn't arrive before when that was, and it's not coming up for me.
Yeah, it should be here. We'll re-put
Yeah,
it. in
yeah,
there.
I got it. I got it.
Awesome. So this is where you end up getting to make your own and trying things. So this is not going to be perfect out of the box. And you can go find different templates online. There's so many things you can do with this. And out of the box, as we're free first kind of marketing agency. So we try to provide tools that are free to us first, because we can die by 1,000 SaaS products. So
Well,
originally, when we started, we just used the free version. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And like a lot of it, even if you're just manipulating the Search Console, Google Analytics, and Google Ads, like for us, that was a majority of what we needed. Over time, we did need to include Google My Business, but that came out after we were really comfortable with the platform. So you can just get started with those three, and that should be more than enough for you guys. And one other thing I wanted to mention is that you can blend data in Data Studio, but I found it to be something that blows up very quickly. And I found it to be very problematic. And when you read anything like online about people doing blended data, they run into more issues than solutions.
So yeah, we don't do that very often, but it's fun. If I can give you an example of something I've been playing with quickly. So in one of our reports, and this is just stuff you try to build over time, right? I pulled in, so this is the lead story. It's the journey. So here I can see that source medium, they're from Google Ads. There were 2 goal completions. This is down from last month. One of them, they filled out a form. One of them, they clicked on the phone number, and it looks like they were new visitors, right? So you can follow this chart, and it tells you the story of, hey, these new visitors came to your site, and 2 different people from Google Ads did these 2 actions. And so there's so much opportunity to grow your skills. Now, we know that you've been through a lot with us recently. You've done audits and you've seen strategies, and now you're seeing this crazy, weird reporting stuff. And the only things you need to remember is that this is just stuff to start playing with, because we have had 7 years on you. And so, and you're getting the fast tracked version. And what that means is your job is just to play and break things.
Yeah. And Karen, to your question, the new data sources are whichever client you're looking to attach to an account. So this would be like your brother's farm, that like everything associated with that one would go into, and it would go into the, sorry, just blank there, would go into one report. You can technically put them, all your clients into one big report, and then you can switch between all the account names. But generally we find, because we're sending these off to clients, that we don't do that, because sorry, I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, generally you don't want to have every person's Google Analytics connected. You generally want to have them all nice and separated.
Okay, because I was looking at the screen, said copy this report, and you got sample Google Ads and Google Analytics data. I didn't know if I had to make separate reports, like for each one, copy them separately, or
No, that's just the data sources. So you'll just include one client in each. So it'll be the client that has Google Ads, the same client that has Google Analytics, the same client that has Google Search Console.
Okay.
So yeah, so you could do it for yourself. Actually,
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to do.
hold on.
It's fine, all right.
What is the name of your business again?
Read up marketing.
Oh, you're gonna love me for a second.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Looks like you already have a report, young lady.
Yeah, okay. That's
But if you're gonna connect them, like I would definitely duplicate this or duplicate a report and put all your stuff in. And because you're gonna go, if you wanted to do like data sources, right?
Yeah.
Phelan, where's the data source?
Resource.
Thank you.
So it's the first one, manage added data sources.
You'll wanna, this is where you go and you're like, oh, okay, it's read up, it's analytics. I wanna add that one. And then this is already all attached, so I'll
Okay.
just review again. But so when you get that new template to make yours, when you are adding the data sources, just to add your business's Google Analytics. If you don't have Google Ads, keep the sample data and then you can hide the Google Ads pages.
okay.
So basically we can use this template for any customer, so long we just make a copy of the original file.
Yeah, exactly. And then all you do is connect the new ones of whatever the clients are, like their equivalent of their Google Analytics or whatever. And then it's just going to auto populate. And then you just name it at the top, just change the name in the top left-hand corner to your gelato company.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
there
super
are
straightforward for that.
interesting things like, so if you pay for SEMrush or any of those SEO tools, a lot of the time they'll have a connector. SEMrush has a connector, I believe.
So does Supermetrics has been pretty good about covering a lot of those guys as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of companies will build their own connector for it as well, which is pretty cool. I also push any companies that like Sprout Social or any sort of posting company that I've asked them to build the connectors as well, because that'd be useful for anyone to just grab that one as well. Hey, Candice, do you have an ad blocker running?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I don't think so. I've tried it on 2 different browsers and it hasn't worked.
Huh.
Let's share your screen and let's try it together.
Yeah, because that's a weird one.
No, I'm having the same problem. No matter what browser I open it in, it's bringing me to the reports.
Okay, let's share your. So Candice 1, Michelle 2, we're gonna share screen if you're up for the game.
Sure.
Okay, let me try to figure that out.
Oh, I figured it out. Take out everything after datastudio.google.com. Only that. Take out all the numbers after that and go into incognito.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder why it's doing that. Okay, so you're clicking on the report. You're only clicking on the datastudio.google.com.
That's it.
Right click, copy, and then go to incognito.
Then go to incognito and put it into incognito.
Okay.
Then it brings it to the to a page where you can see the template and blank studio tutorial report. But if you take the full number, it only takes you into the West Coast College report.
Okay, so interesting, because this is, so what I did was follow Michelle's advice.
Wow,
here.
That's not what I got.
Isn't that interesting? So I got, because I just went to this, then it took me to overview, but then I can click use it for free. And then you're going to sign in and then make sure it's a sign in that you have access to. Okay.
With mine, it opened up now. I got it to work and I'm in Data Studio. And so it says blank report, tutorial report, Acme Marketing. And then underneath I have yours, which is the local template local. So what would I do in this instance? Would I just be duplicating yours?
Yeah,
Like
yes.
three little buttons?
Let's do it together. Share your screen.
Because I'm just like, what the heck is going on here?
And that's one of the normal feelings. So here we are. Okay.
Okay.
And you can click on any of these, or the one,
Hold on. No,
I'll let
no,
Phelan
no.
take over.
Sorry. We're definitely going to get more confused. So you know how you see there's a table down there at the bottom says template local.
Yep.
That's the one we've shared with you.
Yes, that's this one.
Yeah.
That's
And
it.
then it's going to do some thinking. And then from here, try clicking on the 3 dots in the top right-hand corner.
Yeah, that's what I did. Make a copy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then, this
Okay.
one, yeah, you might want to change the data sources. You can change it after the fact. It's just easier at the time to, when that little window pops up and it says, it'll have on the left-hand side what it was going to become,
Okay.
what it used to be. And then the new data source is the new one you want to connect. So you can go to the Google Ads or the Google Analytics, click on either of those.
Okay, so sorry. So you wanted me to do that on what, this page?
Yeah, so when
yes.
you make the initial copy, it's
Okay.
easier to add the data sources now. So do you have Google
Yeah.
Ads? You do.
Click on that guy. And then
Go to data source.
click on create data
Create,
source at
yeah.
the very bottom.
Let's do analytics because I know for sure I have that.
Okay. Okay, so analytics.
So create data source.
Yep. 'cause
Perfect.
just-
Yeah, you got it.
Awesome. Perfect. Click on that. Yeah. And then authorize.
Holy moly.
And then you log in. Now it is literally can be as easy as 3 clicks. And then
Yeah.
Okay.
there. And then
And I need to do GA4, correct?
It doesn't matter for the Google Analytics connector specifically. They don't care. They're fine with either. So it's totally up to you.
Okay. God, this is
okay, wait, you missed one thing that you're gonna hate yourself in the future, but that's okay. Cause so
No,
click that. Yeah, you
No,
gotta
we're right
change
at the right
name.
spot.
Are
Yeah,
you?
the name in the top left-hand corner where it says Avatar Auto Care.
yes.
You're going to want to add something like Google Analytics or something like that because it's just going to make it
R and then Google
exact.
like that.
Yep.
Yep. That's
Okay.
and then
Add
you
to
can click
report.
the add to report on the top right-hand corner.
Holy
Yeah.
moly. Okay. That's that's complicated. Okay, I get it. So prior to making the copy, I have to go into these little
Yeah.
sections and add whatever I have.
Now you'll notice the analytics says sample still. So click on that again.
This one?
The second one.
Oh, this one. Yeah.
So you already have now, because sometimes it'll jump out and be like, we don't know, but you already
Well,
have it.
especially when you're sharing your screen. It gets
Yeah.
really weird when you share your screen
Yeah.
and try to do this.
But you already added your data source. So let's go
Do you mind?
find it. Let's click. Where's type in your
Come on.
business name.
Where?
So go to number 2, Google Analytics data. And
Yeah.
then you can scroll all the way down to find the data source you created.
It won't. Sorry.
Sample.
Or
where?
you can do the search. So you can type in avatar and that'll probably bring it up. Should have brought it up.
Did it not work?
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
You might have to do it twice. Let's try it again. Let's go to the Google Analytics.
What is the top one? Select a data source. What is that? Nothing?
That's so for Google Ads. So you're doing, see, there's 2 tables. There's original data source and new data source.
Oh, okay. So these are equal to each other, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so that
Whichever
one's the
one in
top.
that row,
Okay.
it's being replaced by whatever one you're picking on the right-hand side.
So I can't, there it is. Okay, so basically I've clicked now, this is Google Analytics, but I don't see Google Analytics. Like so what am I clicking? I don't get it. I'm so confused.
Yeah, no problem. There should be options because you've got a bunch of the sample ones that are there. In this case, could you type in G4 at the search? Because I know that's what you named it. So it doesn't have the data source. It didn't save, which does happen. So no worries. We're just going to reconnect it. So go there. And then we want to, can we scroll down to where it says the add new create data source, please?
I can't scroll down. It's not letting me.
Oh, it's being super unhelpful. Okay.
What if she stops screen sharing for a bit?
That is probably what, yeah, I'm going to guess that's probably affecting it. Yeah, and just make sure you guys don't have ad blockers set up when you're using Data Studio because it does weird stuff with it as well. I've had to turn mine off for it.
So make a copy. Google Ads I don't have. Analytics. Yeah, this is
And
just all it's giving me.
okay.
This happens to me sometimes with Google stuff, and I would click the drop. So that little arrow that you see, boy, the Google ad sample, click on that for a sec. And yeah, so then go back to
It
the,
has create data source right here. So that's,
so you might have to create it again. But that's okay. So it's
Yeah,
not,
it's very weird
so
that
it's
it's doing
it's
this.
being glitchy. And as we said, it is open source.
so what was the difference? Okay, so this is the original.
Yeah.
So what I should have done is make a copy, like you said. Yeah, it's just, it's not showing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's glitching out. So
Sir-
what I would do, so say this happens, which is almost normal.
There's
maybe-
one other thing that is probably affecting it. And it is in the top right-hand corner where it has update and it's in the red color. I'm going to wager that they probably want you to relaunch, and that might affect the JavaScript that's running.
So relaunch it?
Yep. Now,
And stupid thing, are you signed in to Google?
yeah. And so let's try to reopen that. It should just normally, there we go.
Yeah, it'll take a minute because you're sharing your screen. You
Yeah,
can
yeah, of
stop
course.
sharing and that'll speed it up.
You want me
I
to
like
stop
your
sharing?
little label there, Pip, Google Ads and SEO. I love that.
I'm
Like-
trying to clean out my computer. I just bought like a 2 terabyte, whatever, external hard drive, and I am wiping my computer clean. So I
Right.
can download all of our videos because like I want to focus on this more, but like I have so much crap, as you can see from my beautiful homepage.
I understand. I do.
Just
Totally
trying
get
to
that.
clean this nonsense up from 10 years of having this laptop.
Yeah, 10 years is a long time for a laptop.
Yeah, it definitely is. Okay, but maybe 8, but you know what I mean. I feel like it's been a while.
So let's say you didn't add your data sources at the beginning, right? You're like, I gotta add data sources. So you would actually do it in a slightly different way, but this is the easiest way. Let's see, did it work? Did it work?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, this is here.
Yeah,
Google-
that's, it's already done.
Okay, so it just needed to be refreshed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, so basically when I click in here, available data sources, it should show here.
Once you've done it, yes, it will show up.
So if I have Search Console, then I still need to,
Create a
if,
data source, your first one.
got
Create
it.
that data source. And you can do that outside of the report as well. Create all these ones and then
Okay.
go back in and then just attach them. That's also a possibility.
So basically I don't want to copy this report until I have all of these things done and connected.
You can do it this way or the other way. This way is the faster, easier way,
Okay.
but you can copy the report. So let's go to copy report. Just copy it. And then you just, it's a slightly different process
Of then going back and adding in all the extra things.
to each page. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And like you said, I'm sure screen sharing. So now it says copy. So I obviously want to rename it to Avatar Auto Care.
Yeah. Take out the template part and the copy of and rename it.
Local SEO and Google Ads, monthly data. Okay, yeah. Obviously there is no Google Ads, but yeah, I get what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you can see because this has SEO data and Google Ads data, it's probably blended, right? So do me a
Hold on,
favor.
no. Blended is something very specific. We don't blend the data on ours, but it means that there's multiple data sources on this page.
So whose data is this then? Like
Google's.
your ad
So,
generator.
oh, look, you just clicked on it. See in where it says setup, it says Google sample data.
Nope. I'm so overwhelmed right now. Where do you
Okay.
set up?
Click out of the blue box right where you're, there you go. And now
Okay.
slightly over, you see where it says
your right.
starts. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
And see it says sample.
Yes.
There you go.
Oh, okay. So this is fake. It's not real.
Yeah, so click on
no,
that.
technically it's actually a real account. It's Google's real account, but they let you use it to play around with
See.
it.
Okay.
So click on that sample data where your mouse is, yeah, and then go to add a data source at the very
This-
bottom. Now, It is Google Ads data. So you want to create a new data source for your Google Ads. And you
Okay, got it. So basically this is my Google Analytics. So by clicking that and adding this to the report, is that now adding a page or what is that adding?
see where it says, now it says below that, it says in the vertical menu, but below setup, it says items last clicks. So it's trying to report on something, but because it was originally Google Ads data, you're not going to get the same information because Google Analytics doesn't report on clicks. So
Okay.
maybe type in, so click on that blue under setup where your little mouse was.
Yeah,
Go down, see where it says item list clicks.
yeah.
Click on that. And type in like impressions or pick
Sessions. It's Google Analytics.
or users. So for Google Analytics, you could type in users. You can try to pick any one of these. Yeah,
I'll just
pick active users. There you go. And there you go, got active users. Now the other way to change that blue text is you can see where it says data. You can actually click on any of those data things and just drag it into where it says metric to see if it works.
Where's
So-
data? Sorry, like you mean this
Okay, yeah,
data here?
No, so where it says active users,
Yeah,
right? Now see the vertical menu beside it that says data? Scroll through that a little bit
okay.
and pick something, anything. It might not work, but pick one thing and drag it to active users, drag it to the blue in the setup, the blue active users. And if you put it over top, it'll take over. Up a little bit.
Wait, Pip, I don't know if that's going to,
See? And now
Yeah.
it's the wrong information, but that's one way to change the data.
Oh my God, this is so confusing. I think I want to cry.
So don't cry. What all you're supposed to do here is just start playing. Do what you're exactly doing. That's your goal. Your goal is to not get it right and to literally drag and drop. So you're just learning the software right now. And because there's Google Ads in there, this might, because we wanted to put the Google Ads in your data source.
Yeah, because right now I don't have Google Ads, so it's
Yes. So go
Yeah.
down to the overall, how's your SEO doing, and see where it says website, your website generated blah, blah, blah users.
is that actually real information or is that also false information?
That's false. So let's click on it.
wait, that's not, it's not.
False. It's Google. It's
just
not
pl-
your
it's play
data.
data.
Yeah,
that
well,
it's
it's fake
actually
data.
their,
It's
Yeah.
fake data. It's not my data. It's not my
yeah,
business
yeah.
data. It's just a random number pulled from somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's fake
Oh,
data.
Okay, now notice the blue highlighted box.
Yes.
So this is the interesting thing about Google Data Studio. Now, if you hover over that blue box, you could actually move everything. Yes, see? So it can be really sensitive. And if you don't like it, just, you know what, that Command Z. for back.
The back.
Yeah, because all you want to do is hover over the users.
Hover over the users. Okay.
And now, where it's, now it says, right, setup and style. So go over to setup under charts on the right-hand side
Okay.
and see where it says sample Google Analytics.
Yeah.
And that. And there you go, put that in, click.
So you have to do this to every single piece of data from this template. You literally have to copy the template and then every single one of these boxes go in and click, or has this now merged?
No, see, it's all, so you can highlight all of them together. So you can
Okay.
go,
Okay.
No, for the explanation, you were correct, but remember when we did it at when we made a copy and then there was the 2 columns where
Yes.
it had sample. So
Yeah.
if you just replace that one with your data sources, it
Yes.
will replace everything that's on the new
Everything,
one
yes.
that gets copied. So you don't have to do this one by one.
Okay. That's interesting. How come it's event count and not bounce rate?
you want to change that. So go over where it says you got event count now. So see okay, now go back into setup and where it says event count in that blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, now click on that,
Okay.
type in bounce.
So why is it that the info was incorrect?
Why is bounce showing up? Interesting. I would go over, see where it says data, and so search in that bar now. So over in the
okay.
vertical menu.
I think I know what's going on.
What?
I think
There.
it's the difference between the Google Analytics and the Universal Analytics and GA4. They might have slightly different names for these
Okay.
things.
So now that you're hovered over bounce rate, drag the bounce rate into event count. And do it twice.
It's showing me that I can't, like it won't accept it.
Try bounces. Let's go for bounces then.
Yeah, every time I'm pulling it over, it blocks out this area. Is
Okay.
it because it's under sample?
Maybe I'm so confused about why that's not
Oh,
working.
thank God you're confused because I'm literally.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
don't worry, this is not
Very confusing at first, but as you get used to like dragging things and it not working and trying different things, and as long as you try to get your data sources and you try to add data sources, that's the outcome of what we want you to do today, is to add your data sources. Now, there.
Sorry, everybody, for hijacking this.
Oh, no, this is
no.
who else is learning? right
We're
now?
all learning, don't worry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all
You're
learning.
not alone with the confusion.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
yeah,
God.
you're not alone. So let's, what do you want to do here, Phelan? Because I don't understand what's going on with that either. That's
Okay.
so this is live, just so you know, these things
Yeah,
happen.
this is again part of the fun and joy that we're having right now is transitioning from Google Analytics UA to the new GA4, and this is probably a result of that. So I'm gonna need to do a bit more research.
So why don't we do this? Can you go to data source again? Let's click on your little data source in the, so under setup, where it says,
Yeah, okay, data source.
and let's go to add data source, because you had Google Analytics 4,
Oh.
right?
Yes, I did. I have both.
Let's do universal. So let's click on Google Analytics there and there, and let's click on universal. Yeah. And then all website data. Usually we would have master view in there, but you can just pull it in. It's all good. And then add, don't forget to name it.
No, you won't be able to name if you add it like that. You have to go back to the to resource at the top to rename it.
Session duration. So now where it says session duration under setup, try to bounce. Let's type in bounce now.
There.
Okay, yeah. So it is something for you guys getting started. It probably has to be the universal analytics, because for some reason they don't have bounce rate with GA4, which is very surprising.
Okay, this is the wrong one. I need to do.
Yeah, but right under there, all website data. So
got it.
and so CPC is cost per click. So that's Google Ads. So let's go and change that metric to, let's, where it says CPC, let's type in goal.
I don't have any goals set up because don't.
Goal space completion. There you go.
Okay, so literally for every single box, we have to go back, change this. We have to check the data source, make sure the data source is correct.
Yeah.
So technically I should change this then to this one.
Yeah. So let me do you this favor. So you've got the new users clicked. Can you go over to conversions and do command like just, yeah. And now the next, so you want to highlight them all together.
Oh, okay.
For them, right? There you go. There you go. And now go where it says multiple values.
Click this one.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's the old analytics.
And that'll change it and be like, okay, it's saying cost per thousand. I might want to change that. CPM is cost per thousand, which is a Google Ads term.
Yeah, but Google Ads and UA, they do have those features, Pip.
Yeah. So now see how it's on style in the column under chart. So go to setup.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so now where it says CPM, let's do users. Or user.
Or total events, anything like that.
It was average time on site. So why would we do users?
I was just trying anything. Do average time on site.
Yeah.
Just type in time and see what you get.
Yeah. They sometimes abbreviate it, so you have to go with like time and that. Not time on screen. You want time on page. There. Perfect.
Average time, just because it's
Yes.
saying.
Yeah, because an average, if you do like just time on page, it literally aggregates everyone's time on your page, which isn't a very useful metric for you.
But it's not pulling up on this old analytics. So would it actually be a better idea for me to then go and delete the old analytics page since I've set up the G4? Is there issues with the two of them because I've got two accounts on the same website?
No, you should have both accounts on the website. Use universal for this one. It shouldn't interchange on you because you're creating your own data source, right? Where you're choosing Google Analytics or Google Analytics 4, because you have them both. Because the last data source you created, the original one was GA4.
Yeah.
And the all website data is your UA. So average time on page. So what I do in these situations is definitely do that. And then I click done because I get scared.
Yeah, I'm like, what did I just? Oh God.
And then I literally go through the metrics and I'm like, okay, average time on page didn't work. What will work? What can I report on? Maybe time, maybe instead where the metric is in the under setup, I would change it. And then I would change the wording, which so it wouldn't be average time on site. So it depends on what you want to report on.
Okay.
This is a summary page. If you go into the other pages.
Okay. Yeah, this is just the main front page.
Yeah. Now, if I click on actually in between the two arrows where it says pages.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then it'll pull up all the pages.
Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So
where you would then hide a page if you didn't want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hide from view mode. So this is where you get to play around. And because most of you won't have Google Ads, the places I would play around are in the Google Analytics.
Okay. So this one.
Yeah. And so this is really interesting because you'll see where it says things people are doing on your website. That's when you have all your goal completion set up.
But again, all this data is not my data. It's
right. So do me a favor, go up to file and then go up to edit. We're looking for select all. Yep. And when you select all,
it's selecting everything.
It's selecting everything.
On every page or just on this one page?
Just on this page. So you can actually copy this and copy it to and make your own report. Because it's copying everything and we can't, now you'll notice that it says multiple properties, 32 components, blah, blah, blah. So it's not giving you the ability to change the data source. So will you go up to resources now?
Okay.
Right there. Yeah. And then manage added data sources. And go for the first one. Click on that. Yeah.
Edit.
Let you?
Oh, edit. Sorry.
And then done.
Because this is the Google Analytics 4 one, right?
Is it? Oh, okay. So we want to go back to UA. So
yeah. So the UA is the all website data one, and you'll want to hit edit there. And then again, this is why we want to name these ones.
Yeah,
you don't get to if you just like
you
add
can
it.
name it right now. Now go up to the top and rename it.
Yeah.
This?
Yeah. Just call it UA. And then yeah, perfect. And then click done. See if it'll pull it in. And replace it. Close.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, there's lots playing around. So now what I would do is unhighlight everything and just highlight all the boxes I want to change. So click close.
Okay.
And then, so now just click on user sessions, click on all those boxes. And then actually click on the tables below as well. And then go to sample, setup, where it says setup. Oh, good job. And then click your newly named universal. Yeah. And it just changed it all for you. So it isn't that hard.
Okay.
But you got your source. It's finicky.
Yeah. It
So
is,
the-
yeah, but that is the big takeaway is Data Studio is really powerful once it's all going, but getting it set up can be a bit finicky.
Interesting.
It's super fun in the end.
Mhm.
Out of the box.
I think I will be breaking things, so I'll clear my desk and not throw things at the wall.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what? That your job is to break things in here, because the only way you get used to this, and once you get a template that you like, that works for you, you can copy it and use it for other businesses and just make small tweaks.
Got it. So basically, to save myself from having to go through these resource pages and whatever, it's better just to, when I'm making the copy, sorry, I got it, like when I'm making the copy, to literally do all of these connectivities first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Way easier. And then that's where you set up your data source. And that's the hardest part. And then your job is to go in and start, what do users mean? What do sessions mean? You all know all this stuff. We know source medium. And yeah, this is out of the box kind of set up for you, but you can see, I can see on your bounce rate, more people bounce on your desktop. So the little pie charts at the bottom.
Oh,
user-
okay, here.
So more people are using mobile devices. So that means I might want to look at my phone on a mobile device whenever I make edits on my website.
Yeah,
And then-
because obviously I need to redo this website without doubt. So I'm assuming it's incredibly slow to load.
Yeah, we found a great resource for that. It's $50 a year, but it solved our problem.
For what? Sorry.
Oh, making it your
Oh.
website fast.
It's a
Okay.
plugin that makes the website extremely fast.
Which
We
is
went
it?
from
Is it, because I just put a plug in maybe a little while ago, and I guess it's not working very well. Jetpack, I think, is that? I'd have
Oh,
to ask
yeah,
my guy.
Yeah, Jetpack is one that's built by Automatic, the people who designed WordPress, and
Okay.
that one is good for if you get a lot of spam comments or anything like that. That's really good for that part of it.
Okay.
The one I would recommend for free is I'll put it in the chat. It's called W3 Total Cache.
You want to share our affiliate one for the
That
one we
crashes
bought?
websites pretty often, I've found.
Oh yeah. See,
FYI.
Phelan, what's the affiliate one? So we are an affiliate. You don't have to use our affiliate, but share the link to which one we bought. Like it literally, because I was very upset about our speed of our site.
Your load time, yeah.
Yeah, it was just brutal. And like we bought this plugin and we're at like 100% on a desktop now. And
What's the plugin?
what
I put it in the chat. It's called WP Rocket. It's paid. There is no free tier for it, but it's a license for 1 year.
Well,
Honestly,
If it means your website's faster, I'd pay anything to be
for
honest.
$50. If you look
Yeah.
at that, because if we look at your data, if we look at just those pie charts, we have time on site. It looks like lots of people spend time on a tablet, but most people are spending time on a page on mobile. And
Sorry, can you say that again? Time on page, you said it looks like,
most people are doing mobile, right? Time on page, they're spending the most time on the page on a mobile phone. So if you could speed that up on a mobile device, your people will be happier,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
saying here mobile time on page is 1 minute and 42 seconds.
yeah, so that's good, the average.
24.
And then you're looking at bounce rate. You got more people bouncing on your desktop, or is that
It is
the most bounce?
%, desktop 58%, and then mobile. So I've got a high bounce rate, which means that my website isn't loading fast.
It depends on the industry, what we consider a high bounce rate. You're looking at, so look over in that chart right beside those pie charts. Yeah, the table, look at the bounce rate. So Google Organic, that's a great bounce rate for Google Organic, right? Like we usually see averages of 80% bounce rates. Having a really low bounce rate is scary, but if you look at, so your
My
Google,
goal.
you're getting more bounces. So that's when you're like, okay, maybe people aren't getting what they need when
Or
they
maybe
come.
it's not loading fast enough, so they're getting frustrated and they just say, screw this.
Yeah. And then you're like, Yahoo is 33%. Your Facebook's all parsed out. So mobile on Facebook is 100% bounce rate.
Ugh, this thing is annoying. Sorry, this little.
Oh yeah. So is it possible to get a reset link for the audit strategy? Yeah, summary slide deck. Kaya, can you tell me what you're saying?
Words. Yeah, it was from a previous class, totally unrelated to what we're currently talking about.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I'll put the link in the chat.
Thank you, Phelan.
Oh, I see what you're asking.
Sorry to derail.
No, it's all good.
Don't worry, Data Studio does that for you.
Okay, perfect.
Oh,
Okay, we're coming up to time. What I want to tell you is that your job over the weekend for next week is to just go make a copy, play around, break it. I want you to come with that, come back and ask questions like, I couldn't add my data source. And we'll do that together on, I think, Tuesday and Wednesday, right?
Okay.
So
Yes.
we are going to make it so that you all get it.
Okay.
Do not worry. I know it's all overwhelming, and I promise you by the end of all this, you'll be like, I know everything about this and I feel good.
I have a quick question. So would it be better, like obviously in the name here, it's got local SEO and Google Ads. Obviously, if I was dealing with a client and I was only doing SEO, obviously I would remove this. And then what you're saying is I would then go to these pages and then I would remove whatever or hide whatever pages weren't concerning.
Delete them if they're
Or
never
delete
going to buy ads. Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is this 12 page is like the complete package of everything. So
Yeah.
we don't technically want to delete it because you've done all this work and given us all this.
Yeah.
So
But
like,
you-
it'd be
I would
best-
hide it.
Yeah,
yeah.
it'd be best to hide it.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Oh, and if you go to the last page, so I created this, I like this. So see where, no, the last live page you can see because it's darker. So where it says how Data Studio works.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, so I put this on the last page, and this basically tells you how you can scroll between pages or what the different graphs are going to look like. And it says questions you might have. So I add this to the reports at the end so that a client can read through it if they want, so they can learn how to use it on their own. I thought it was a great resource. I used to put it at the front, and then I realized it should just be at the back. Anything on this page is editable. If I click on the text where it says Google Ads and SEO, I can, so why don't you do that for a sec? Can you go over to the main screen where it says created by Seymour Digital Media?
Yes.
Yeah. Click on that, hit delete. There you go. Now I want to add my own stuff. So go to the A symbol across the top.
The A
See,
symbol?
up. So horizontal menu, notice how it says pages, data, source, charts, and then it's got an image picture. It's got data control.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, so click on that and then go over inside the report. Oh, you got to click on it again so it's highlighted. So go to the A again. Yeah. And then go over. Yeah. And now click. And then, so it's a drag and drop. You can add images, you can add arrows, you can add all sorts of different things. So as I said, your job is to go play, just play. You break this, don't worry, because you can delete it and make
another copy. Okay.
So I know it's overwhelming, but it's Thursday. So like mini Friday. So you're all going to go have fun after this and realize that you just became SEO experts and you didn't even know it.
So then basically this is literally only for SEO and Google Ads.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's all this template is for. So as Data Studio, as like a package, it's purely for SEO and Google Ads.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is what we teach. You can add in other sources. So if you hire a company that uses Data Studio and pays for Supermetrics, like we can pull in Facebook, we can pull in Instagram, we can do all of those things.
Okay, so you
But-
could pull in other reports and add pages if you wanted to, but you would have to pay for those connections like you said in the beginning.
Yeah.
Got it.
So the whole job of this is to give you a tool so that you can deliver. Say you're writing blogs and you want to prove that lowered bounce rate. People are more interested in the content. So you're going to report on bounce rate and be like, oh, it's really up from last month. And maybe you want to do last month and last year. delete everything, make your own report. Like, I promise you, this is so much fun, like geeky fun that will eventually you'll have it. It'll be like graphic design for you, where you're trying to move boxes for hours and you're like, I'm not allowed to do this anymore. And you can go down a rabbit hole. Super fun. Everybody excited?
We're gonna be as stoked as you one day, Pip.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know.
Well,
Hiring
this is
somebody
also
sounds
your
so
first,
much easier.
this is your first day just looking at this stuff. We're taking it one step at a time, and this will snap into focus for you. It will just make sense at one point.
It's obviously super powerful. I'm excited about that.
Yeah. And you know what? We break it all the time, and we screw up things, and we try to make scorecards out of things that we can't. And basically, I'll make a graph, and I'll just go through the different like graphs I can and try to pull in information to be like, ooh, is this interesting? And so I'm going to play around with one this weekend, and I hope we all come back to the table on Tuesday and we all show our fat new work.
Okay.
Yay!
Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate this. This is
Yeah.
interesting.
Fun, right?
Ish.
Yeah. It's just what we want.
Ish.
So we will see you on, I believe, next week. And
Just before we go,
no.
Helena had a question.
Oh,
Should we install Yoast on WordPress for clients if we're trying to do it professionally? And Yoast out of the box is probably the one we recommend. It's a really decent SEO plugin tool that makes it super easy to get started with it.
so that being said, what we do, we sell an audit and a strategy. We do not add things to people's websites. We do not do any of those things until they're paying us recurring revenue to do those tasks. That is just how we roll. Everybody's different. So you could just be like, I want to help out the client. You could try Rank Math. You could try Yoast. What are the other ones?
All-in-one SEO. I
SEO.
didn't like all-in-one SEO. If you made me pick a second one, it would be Rank Math.
Yeah.
It's definitely, Yoast is just a lot simpler, to be entirely honest. It's exactly what you need to get started.
And
so
who doesn't like the green? We all played red light, green light as children. I'm sure of it. So, and orange lights are good.
But you said not to agonize about the readability score on Yoast, right?
That's why, yeah, I don't agonize. If when you're using Yoast, one of the main things you'll come across is it'll be like, your keyword does not show up in your first 100 words. And you're like, it's right there. It is right there. And you're like, okay, who am I going to believe? My own eyes or some system? So that's where education comes in with your clients. So you're like, green's not always the best idea, because they haven't necessarily updated their system to reflect the new algorithm changes, things like that. You get to say, and they focus on too many transition words, where you guys remember the Hemingway app. Yeah. That focus is on less transition words. So there's an argument between softwares. It's up to you to make the final call as the professional.
Thank you. You guys are the best.
Yay, we love that.